this is homecoming week. We started doing virtual events during the pandemic because we couldn't have in-person events. And that's something that we're going to continue to do so that people can continue to stay connected with the university. And all of the events that we've done like this, we've done a few other features like this, are on our YouTube channel. You can watch them later. This is the alumni office staff. So we're a staff of 3. We work in the Office of Advancement. Jerry Chipman graduated in 1997, and she is our alumni events coordinator. And I'm Christian Garcia Womack. I graduated in 2012. I'm the alumni director. And Tiana is the newest member of our team, and she joined us in March of this year. And she is from California Baptist. So she's not an alum, but she is having a great time at our small school, much smaller than her alma mater. But we really appreciate her. She came from a student life background, a residence life background. So she's been a huge asset to our team. So this is Eugene. He is the program director. We're going to let him talk a little bit about himself, and then we'll go ahead and introduce some other speakers.
Thank you very much. My name is Eugene Frier. I am the Director of Esports and Gaming on campus at Texas Wesleyan University. I've worked at Texas Wesleyan for the past 6 years. I was originally hired here as an assistant dean of students and then transitioned into my current role in January 2018. But prior to that, and Tiana, I didn't know you had a res life background. Prior to that, I worked 12 years as a full-time staff member and 5 years as a student staff member in res life at another university. I have a big heart for higher education. Love working with students, helping learn from them and share what I know with them to help build something great. And that's what we're trying to do with our program, honestly. In addition to that, in the esports world, I just finished my 2-year term as the chair for the board of directors for the National Association of Collegiate Esports, and I'm currently serving as an advisor to the board of directors right now for the next year. And yeah, esports is we were joking about this today, some folks in the office. Esports years are different than normal years. It's kind of like dog years. 1 year in the real world is like 7 years in the esports world. So we've had an esports program for 21 years. And it's just kind of cool because the growth of collegiate esports lined up really well with when we created our program here. So Texas Wesleyan's been on the forefront of that. We were the first university in Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, or Louisiana to have a program like this. And we are, I would say, looking at what other programs do, one of the most innovative programs in the country as well. So I'm very happy to be here, very happy to talk, and very happy to share what we do in our department.
Okay.
Thank you, Eugene. All right, so next we have Grant Brady. He is a Texas West coordinator for esports, so he's going to tell us a little bit about himself.
Hey there, so my name is Grant. I am the coordinator of esports here, and so a lot of my position is working with our teams on the competition side and also helping with events and basically any other jack of all trade things that are needed.
Everything's pretty much done online, and then you've got different skill levels for your students.
Pardon?
You've got different skill levels, and then there's different teams within the school itself.
Yeah, yes, sir. We have 3 different teams, and they're sorry about that. They're for different games as well, and so we have different skill levels for each of those players on those teams. They come from different backgrounds as well, so it's working with a diverse portfolio of students and finding common ground between each of them.
Well, and that's one of the things that people that are unfamiliar with esports, with competitive video game competitions, don't realize how deep the rabbit hole goes of the structures that already exist for competitive esports. I've heard it said before that esports is the biggest world you've never heard of, and I think that's very true. One of the things that I'll say, and Grant might yell at me because I might get this a little bit wrong because I'm not as familiar with League of Legends, but I'll use League of Legends as an example because that's a Grant's primary game. There are different ranks in the game. If you play competitively, whether you're a professional player, a collegiate player, or just somebody that loves playing, and you can be iron, bronze, silver, gold, platinum, diamond, master, challenger. And within all of those, except for Challenger, there are different bands. So if I were to be a Diamond 3 player and Nick was a Diamond 5 player, everybody would know I'm a higher rank than Nick because we've played so many games and the MMR has matched us up with people and we go up in points and all that kind of stuff. So there are, like you think of with traditional sports, somebody saying I was an All-American, that means something in football.
Right.
Somebody saying to us that they're a Diamond 1, we're like, okay, we have a sense of where you're at before we've seen any of your footage. So there are some really incredible data pieces in place and analytics that help us evaluate students and their performance. It's really, really exciting.
Interesting. How do you go from like one level to another? Say like you're a Diamond 1, then whatever the next level is, start at the bottom of that and have to pay people there to proceed from, advance.
Yeah, that's a
Go ahead.
Oh yeah, no, that's a great question. A lot of it is putting in time. It's just like a normal. If you take football, for example, whenever you start out younger, you're obviously not as great, and throughout the years, you're building up different foundations and different strengths, and you find different skill sets that you're really good with. And it applies the exact same to our players as well. We find strengths that they're really good at, and we find their weaknesses, and so we want to capitalize on things that boost them and focus on their strengths, and then try to find ways to cover their weakness, whether that be a different way they approach the game or if a different player will compensate for those weaknesses, a fellow teammate.
You find that there's prodigies too, just like in sports or like music or anything?
Yeah, I think Eugene can tell you about that.
Yes, that is correct. No, I think there are people that have a natural propensity for skill in anything in life, and I think that's very true with esports. I think the one thing that is, well, I was going to say a little bit different, but it's not really a little bit different. Anything that you can become great at, depending on what your skill level is. If you're a great fill in the blank in your city, what that looks different than if you're a great same thing for the state. Being really good at cooking barbecue is different if you're cooking for your family versus if you have a company that, sells $1 million every month or whatever worth of product. So I think that's very true for esports as well. There are some people that can just pick up games and become very, very skillful, but to really achieve excellence, you have to put in the time, like Grant was saying.
I get you. Yeah, just like chess prodigies and those type like that. It's interesting.
Thanks, Grant. And Eugene. So these are our students. So we can take some time. We'll start with Michael, and he can tell a little bit about himself, and then go on to Stella, and then Nick.
Hi, my name is Michael Nguyen. I am a senior music education major. Currently, I am student teaching right now. I've been involved in the esports program since my sophomore year. I joined around the second semester that the esports program was founded. I played on the League of Legends team, and then eventually I moved over to the Overwatch team where I was a team leader of. Then after that, I took a break from playing competitively, and I went back to more of the behind the scenes stuff. So I was part of the stream team that we had here, and now currently I'm working as a program manager for Texas Wesleyan Esports.
Okay. Did you become a coach at any time for the other students after you kind of dropped out, or what? What happened there?
I never became a coach, more like a mentor to some students because my skill level wasn't higher than a lot of the other students. So yeah, that's where I was.
All right.
Stella?
Hello, my name is Stella Tome, and I'm a first-year student at Texas Wesleyan University, majoring in finance, and I'm an eSport Instagram manager, and this is my second semester in eSport department. And beside that, I also a student intern for student activity of student affair, and I also an officer for Enactus Club in our school.
Awesome.
You got your hands full. What's the manager do? Is that like on a football team?
So for eSport, we have social media, such as Twitter, YouTube, Discord, and Instagram. So I'm the one who respond for Instagram. So basically, I'm trying to like promote and advertise what is going on in eSport community and try to get people involved in it.
With that, with what you're saying, from the time you started to the time now, is it, you see an increase in the people that are interested in that?
Yes. So on social media, especially on Instagram, we have like an insight. So you can actually see like all the number and all the graph, like how many people follow you after a certain time. So I think
Mhm.
from last semester, we only have 300, around 300 to 400 followers, but to up to
Wow.
now we have like up to like 700, around 600 to 700 people that following our Instagram
Wow.
page. So that's really good.
What's causing that? Is that word of mouth, or you just have to advertise, or how's the growth happening?
So we make like poster or posting or shout out to people, hey, there's an event going on our esport department, and especially we have like a streamer team, so they're gonna stream on another social media called Twitch. So I'm gonna try to like get the audience from like Instagram to come to Twitch and like watch them. And we also hold some event that not open to everybody. So it's the good time for me to like letting people know, hey, come to this event. We're having this going on, so everyone can get involved in the school, not only esport people, but for everyone.
Stella's also being very bashful in saying this. She's talked very generally about how things got better. Our Instagram's gotten better because she's incredible at managing it. She's an
Yeah.
incredible photographer. She understands social media analytics. As she mentioned, she does 7,000 different things on campus, I think. So she knows a lot of people. So she's really good at bringing people together and then turning that into actual work on our social media pages. So my answer
Wow.
to why it's gotten better would be Stella, but also the things that she said.
Okay. Sounds like one of the
That's
teams that you're talking
great.
about, they're kind of like cheerleaders.
Thank
What I
you.
would equate to cheerleaders,
Yeah.
and it doesn't hurt to have that national championship either. Kind of make people listen to you.
Yeah. All right,
I
Nick, are you
definitely
ready?
agree.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay.
Hi, my name is Nick Haynes. I am a senior here. I am a sports communications major, and I also have a minoring in business administration. I'm the captain of the FIFA team, I'm also on our table tennis team. And yeah, I've been on both for 6 to 7 semesters. I was a part of the national championship team, just a humble brag. I know Eugene's been talking about it, so just got to pat the shoulder a little bit. All right, I'm done. But yeah, I'm really excited to be a part of everything going on here, and it's awesome. So thanks for having me.
Congrats. And then what's your plans for after once you graduate?
Sorry, what's my what?
What are your plans
Congrats. And
after
then what's your
graduating?
plans for after graduating?
Oh, my plans. I really love sports, so I think to be involved with something in the social media field, it's a very growing field. So to do something in football or basketball or baseball, something like that, where I could help teams grow their platforms, I think that'd be really awesome.
Okay, cool.
Thanks, Nick. All right.
Thank you.
So, what is esports? Let's talk a little bit about this. Grant, I know you have to go pretty soon, so do you want to help us out with this one?
So yeah, sorry about that. I have to actually leave relatively soon. But I think a good way to answer, at least from a competitive side, I recently graduated college and I competed in esports for most of my time in college. And I was able to travel with my best friends and be able to live with them. And we practiced every day and spent weekends playing. And so it's not just about the competitive aspect that makes esports big, but it's also the family aspect where it feels like you're really bonded with your teammates and you really feel like you trust each other.
Yeah.
So to me, that's what esports is.
Okay.
But anyway, I'm so sorry I have to leave, but it was really nice meeting you.
Yes, thanks for coming,
Good
Grant.
evening.
So bye,
Thank
y'all.
you so much.
Bye. Does
Bye
anybody
now.
else want to kind of add to what is esports?
Yeah, absolutely. I would just say really quick, the the simple way to say it, the way I explain it to people that have never heard of it before, is it all starts with competitive video game competitions. So I think sports being included in the title can be a both helpful comparison. So it's like, oh, like sports, people compete against each other in sports, but also an unhelpful comparison because sometimes people get dragged into well, esports isn't a real sport. And it's like, well, it doesn't matter if it's a real sport or not. It is huge. It's rapidly growing globally. Back when I was in college, esports didn't exist. It was just video games and you played against people. But now esports is an actual industry. We're very fortunate in the Dallas-Fort Worth area in that a lot of money has been put into the industry professionally. There's the Esports Stadium in Arlington. It's part of the convention center and is the largest freestanding esports stadium in North America right now. Jerry Jones and one of his business partners recently bought an esports organization about 3 or 4 years ago. 2 separate esports organizations moved to the DFW area in 2017, 2018. The Dallas Mavericks have created an esports organization, Mavs Gaming, that take part in the NBA 2K League. So you see, it's like, it's not just about games. There's an industry built around it. And that's esports, again, is the biggest world you've never heard of, if you've never heard of it. But it all starts with competitive video game competitions, but there's an actual industry built around it. And it's incredible to see its growth, honestly.
Yeah.
Great. Thanks, Eugene.
Very interesting.
Okay, so we're gonna watch, CBS 11 did a feature on esports here at Texas Wesleyan. So we're gonna watch this video. Let me just make sure. It's gonna lag a little bit, but it will sound fine.
Well, yesterday we told you about esports programs in North Texas high schools. But what about the next step for students interested in going further in the industry? Many colleges in Texas actually offer esports scholarships.
Esports is the biggest world you've never heard of.
Texas Wesleyan in Fort Worth is preparing students for one of the fastest growing industries.
I know we're an esports program, but I kind of see it as a leadership program that's connected with esports.
It's one of more than 200 colleges in the country that offers scholarships for online gaming. Director Eugene Frier says their program is built to give students the tools they need to succeed.
If 5 years after you graduate from Wesleyan, all you can look back on the program is like, hey, that was fun, like, then we've failed you.
They're not only focusing on the players, but behind the scenes, where there are real career opportunities, especially in North Texas.
People don't always think about it this way, but the Dallas Cowboys are a company. People think about their employees that are football players, but they have employees that do just about everything else that you can think of.
It's not just for gamers, and I think too often esports gives a negative light for that. It's not just gamers in this industry.
Senior Johnny McNamee is one of the program managers and helps classmates find their niche.
Like, I remember my dad buying me like a PS2, and my first game was like Street Fighter. And so like since the age of 4, I've always been gaming.
So while students get to play the games they love, they're also learning valuable skills such as brand marketing, financial literacy, and communication.
Building out pockets like that so we can build a holistic job candidate.
But with one caveat, they have to keep up with their classes.
And if you're not doing well in classes, you don't play. Creating that balance between school life and esports, definitely, like, it's possible.
Both hope they break the stigma to show that this is a new outlet for kids who may have felt overlooked.
The kind of mantra that we've had this year is we have a circle of who's involved in our program. How can we open the circle up to make sure other people know that they're welcome to take part in our program?
Even if you're not good at video games but want to get involved in esports, they say there is a place for you in their program.
If you want to be a streamer, a player, an editor, the desire to want to be involved is the first step. And then it's like, we can figure out how to get you connected after that.
Try it. Go for it. Don't be afraid.
Yeah, just do it. I know Nike already said that, but I'll say it too.
COVID has given Texas Wesleyan a lot of free time, but they've used it to find ways to expand the program, including a stream team in which students broadcast to a live audience online. There's a YouTube channel, and they're even working on a campus tournament to bring students together during the pandemic. We mentioned there's professional opportunities in our area. One of the biggest organizations here owns Dallas Empire, the newly crowned best Call of Duty team in the world. Tomorrow, we're going to talk to them about esports in North Texas.
So that's just a little bit about esports in our program. We had a feature last year So let's hear from our students. So I think these questions are for whoever wants to answer them. I'm looking at the outline right now. But how have you been involved in the Texas West Esports and Gaming program? Michael. Sure.
Yeah, sure. So like I said earlier, I played on 2 competitive teams. I played League of Legends and Overwatch, and currently I am the program manager of Texas Wesleyan University, and I'm also assisting Grant in our competitive teams as well.
Michael, can you tell us a little bit about what you're going to school for as well? Because Michael was one of our speakers on our music department behind the scenes. So can you tell us a little bit about that too?
Sure, yes. So I'm a music education major with a focus on the vocal aspect of music. So right now I am student teaching. So I'm at my second placement right now. I am teaching at a middle school. It's a Wedgwood Middle, and I'm teaching choir. And then I'm graduating this semester. After I'm done with Wesleyan, I plan on being a head choir director somewhere. So that's where I'm heading.
Awesome. Thanks.
Good.
What has your involvement in the program meant to you, and what have you learned through your experience in the esports program?
So when it comes to esports, I really credit esports for the reason why I'm on campus all the time, especially now because I'm working 3 jobs and I'm here on campus a lot because I enjoy esports just that much. I've learned that no matter how small your actions feel to you, they can impact other people. That one clip that you saw that I was a part of, it actually inspired one of our students who came up to talk to me. Like earlier this week, he was like, "Hey, Michael, you're the reason why I'm here. I saw that news thing and I thought it was really cool, and you're the reason why I'm here." So just like any small action you do when it comes to anything in life has a bigger impact, and I learned that especially through my involvement in Texas Wesleyan Esports.
Excellent.
What skills and qualities do students need to succeed in esports? Michael.
So I say it comes down to 3 things. You need to have an open mind. You need to be able to communicate well and effectively, and you need to work hard. The more you put into the esports program, the more you can get out of it. That's just something that's like gonna be copy and pasted for the rest of your life. But that's something that I feel like if students could do anywhere, they could be successful.
Very true.
So we already talked about kind of your role in the esports program, but can you tell us a little bit about what you'll take away from your experience in the program and how that will translate to the classroom since you're going to be a teacher or a choral director?
So you're always gonna be working with people. So I've learned a lot of really good people skills here working at the Texas Wesleyan Esports program. One thing I've learned is how to be more of a professional when it comes to like the just administration and just that side of things. Because as a teacher, you're gonna be working with a lot of students as well, but it's equally important to be working with your peers and how do you communicate well and effectively, and how do you be a professional when it comes to that aspect of life. And that's something that I've gotten a lot from Texas Wesleyan Esports.
That's good.
Awesome. And I think I have one more question for you. I mean, leadership wise, like what are you taking away from this program? Because that's something that you have been practicing not only in esports, but he was also a student director in the music department. So kind of tell us how that experience translates to your career field as well.
So to me, leadership is all about consistency and leading by example. Especially when you're working with students, if you're not consistent with the things you say or your expectations, they're not going to respect you as a teacher. And as a leader, if you can't lead by example, it's going to be really hard to have people to follow you and to like appreciate and respect you as well.
Awesome.
Very
Thanks,
true.
Michael.
Very true. As a side note, Michael, check out Angelina Jordan. I don't know if you've heard of her. She's kind of a phenom. She's 16 now and been singing since she's like a year and a half. She's on YouTube.
Sure thing. I'll check that out.
Okay, I
Just
believe,
wondering, this is the question for everybody, but does AI technology tie into this field at all? Is it changing anything, or is it even affected it at any point?
The primary way that it not in the way that you might be thinking. The main way that AI
Okay.
technology directly interacts with our program is in game and how it's used to make, like for FIFA, for example, we've mentioned that the game that we won a national championship in. How it
Right.
impacts how the goalies play and all that kind of stuff. Like it impacts it in that way, but not in a broader technology way, really.
Okay.
awesome. Okay, Stella, how did your involvement as a freshman impact your first year here at Texas Wesleyan?
Don't be shy.
Did the headset maybe turn off by
Oh
accident?
no.
Hello?
There
Can you
we
hear me?
go.
Okay, sorry, I don't know. So as I already mentioned before, as a freshman in college and right now, beside managing like Instagram for esport, I also a student intern for student affair and then doing social media for Enactus Club, and esport is one of a push and like a step, like a fundamental step for me to like be so confident and apply for another position in the school or like get super involved in the school. And I would say I have to shout out and really thankful to our amazing director. He's the person who I can like reach out whenever I needed help, not only in my for job but also for my major or for whatever happened to me. So for example, like I was during my summer, I was concerning, like I was thinking about switching my major. So I didn't really know like who I should talk to, but like we normally have like a one meeting, so he checked on me during the summer and I talked to him, we discussed about that, and like it really helped me like what I want to do now for my major. So being in esport not only helping me with like learning like about esport community, but also like helping me with like my career and stuff like that.
Yeah. So
So
is your major changing then?
So for right now, before I was thinking about switching to mass communication, but
Mm-hmm.
I finally decide to stay in finance because I finally figured out that I have a really big interest in like business major. So doing like social media stuff, it's just like my hobby, but I actually like really interested in like finance world more. So yeah.
Very good.
Yeah.
so
Good.
you're involved in all of these things on campus. Was esports the first thing that you were involved in?
Yes, absolutely. So, a little bit about me is I'm not from here. I'm from Vietnam. As
Hmm.
yes, so I actually saw a post on Instagram saying like esport are looking for Instagram manager, and at that time I was really interested in like getting involved in the school, and of course I love doing social media stuff, so that's why I applied. And a little bit more about me is I don't play game, but during the interview I showed my passion about social media and how I want to get involved in the school. That why like Eugene picked me, and I finally work for esport, and I for sure like grow so much from here, not only like professionally but also like the love that I have for Wesleyan University too.
Yeah, it's great. Fantastic.
Awesome. Well, you answered your second question on this slide, so we'll go ahead and move to the next one. Okay, these are for Nick. I believe. Okay, so Nick, can you tell us a little bit about your experiences at esport competitions? Being a national champion and all, I bet it's a great atmosphere.
Yeah, so what I always tell people is that FIFA is really different from any other video game or just regular sport, because when we're playing, like if you're at a football game, a basketball game, or like a lot of other video game events, it's really loud. Like it's just loud all the time. Like people are yelling, teammates are communicating, all that stuff. But when we're playing, it's silent. Like it is uncomfortably quiet in the room. And when we're playing, there's just like, we're all so focused. We're individually playing on each computer and we're playing for the team. And so it's just really intense. And my favorite part about my experience is just like, you can always tell when somebody scores because it is so loud. Like somebody will yell goal. We have a lot of people from South America, so you'll hear golazo quite a bit. I'm not from South America, but I do like saying golazo. It's just part of what I like to do. But yeah, one of my favorite experiences is just how different it is. Even table tennis, there's just like so much noise and a lot of stuff going on, but in here it is totally quiet when we're playing, other than if there's goals scored.
Interesting.
Did you pick up FIFA because you like sports, or how did that?
I played when FIFA 12 came out, which was like 2011-ish. And quite honestly, I started playing FIFA just because like my mom didn't really want me to play Call of Duty or any of the first-person shooter games. So FIFA was sort of a way that I could play video games without it being a, shooter game. But I ended up really liking it, and a lot of my buddies played it. So it was a way for us to pass time while following the rules respectfully that my parents wished. So that's how that started.
Well, and really quick, I want to make sure this gets seen because I think it's amazing and I love that he's wearing it right now. But Nick is actually wearing our competitive jersey that all of our players get, representing the Ram, representing Wesleyan. They have their names on the back. I just wanted to highlight that real quick because it's something that we're very proud of.
Show that again for me.
Yeah. Here, I'll just I don't know if this is gonna work, but I'll just like give you a little turn. You can kind of see there a little bit.
There you go. Yeah. There you go.
They got the Ram on the front. Very nice. Very
Very
nice.
big Ram.
Wow.
Very big Ram.
Yeah. Yep.
Big one.
Awesome. So as a student athlete, what similarities do you see between your sport and esports?
Sure. So like I said before, I'm on the table tennis team here. We have a very highly respected table tennis team here. There's a lot of expectations for the team. And I would say that esports is no different. I would say we have schedules, we have expectations, there's consequences. If you're late to practice, there's consequences. If you don't come to practice, there's consequences. Same with table tennis. So I think people think maybe it's like, it's just going to play video games, but we have strategies, plans, things we want to work on at practice. And so
Right.
There's expectations. It's not just kind of a blow off thing. It's a thing that we do. So I would say that's a big thing that I connect between the two of them.
Yeah.
Well, one thing I'll say too, that I think Nick does a great job of as the captain for the FIFA team. We had a meeting that was an hour long or so earlier this week where we were mapping out drills that our players were going to do. It wasn't just come in and play the game. It was, all right, we're going to do some ground passing drills, some long passing drills, some dribbling drills, shooting drills. So it is more than just playing the game. And Nick does a great job of facilitating that.
No pressure, Nick, but do you prefer Yasna or Eugene? Yasna is our table tennis coach.
Yasna.
I think my mic's cutting out. The connection's really low. I couldn't really hear that. But if you want to just refer the question to maybe like Michael or Stella, they could probably answer it. But I have really poor connection right now. It's cutting out. So
I think Nick has to go join Grant. So
what's that, Grant? Yeah, I'm coming. Yeah. So
The ship is sinking.
I'm kidding.
Yeah.
Please do
No
not.
comment. No comment.
No comment. There you go.
No comment. Yeah.
Okay, one more, Nick. What advice would you give students who want to pursue competitive esports?
I would say just start by introducing yourself. So what I did my first semester getting involved in esports was I came and I introduced myself to Eugene, and I just said, hey, this is, I'm Nick, that kind of thing. I'm really interested in FIFA. And from there, I've developed a really great relationship with Eugene that I'm really thankful for. And so I think that you can get a lot out of just going and like taking that first step and just introducing yourself. And what I really like about the esports program is that there's so many different people that just come into this room, whether it's after class, after an event, after lunch, whatever, and they just like, they'll sit here and they say, Eugene, I feel so safe here, or like, I feel like I finally found somewhere where I fit in. And I feel like that's pretty powerful, just because I feel like that's really what we all want, is just to find somewhere we fit in. So I think that has a lot to do with Eugene and Grant. They're very personable people. They can pretty much make conversations with anybody about anything. But yeah, I think that's pretty important. It's just finding somewhere where you fit in and feel at home. So that's a big part of it.
Good.
All right, so we have one more video. So if you'll just, it's going to be kind of hard to see, especially if you're on your phone, but they did a tour of their facility. So we'll watch that really quick.
Welcome to the esports offices. We are located in the Morton Fitness Center. The seasons for our teams are about to start within the next couple of weeks, so swing by to see how you can get involved.
Awesome. Does anybody have any questions? I know that we kind of covered a lot. David, you asked a lot of questions during the event, but we have 3 really special students here with us. They all come from different backgrounds, and they're really, really enjoying our esports program. So does anybody have any questions for either Eugene or the students?
What's that picture of right there? Is that the different teams or is that just one team?
So that picture is actually the Overwatch team. The picture that I'm right in the middle. That's one of the teams that I played for. This was after one of our live events, and we just decided to take a picture together. Yeah.
Yeah, that's us
Stand
at
up
the
there.
Esports Stadium in Arlington, in the back area outside of where our competition room was. And that's Michael,
okay.
very much enjoying getting hugged by his teammate Jacob in that picture.
And that's a better look at their team jerseys that they compete in. So very big ram on the
okay.
front and their names on the back. So it's very noticeable.
Yeah.
One thing I love that this picture highlights as well, really quick. I know I'm talking a lot. I apologize. But in the front row are 3 students that Ming, Chen, and Twain that joined our program about a week after getting in the country. And
Wow.
Michael did a fantastic job of just connecting with them and getting them integrated into the campus, into the area. Michael is a barber. He'd give them haircuts. Michael is a big foodie. Michael would show them places to eat around town, especially stuff that was very close to authentic food from where they're from. And I think that really is the power of what we get to do here. It's not just for people that come from far away, but kind of like Nick was saying earlier, it's people see what we do and are like, I do that too. How can I get involved? One of Nick's former teammates, Teo, he saw, it's funny in this picture, in the back row on the far right, there's a student, Eric. He's a transfer student that transferred to our university to compete in our esports program. He was wearing the hoodie that he's wearing in that picture at an international student orientation. And those 3 students in the front row, and the year before, a student, Teo, saw him wearing that and said, wait, where do I go for that? And they got involved in our program and joined our teams and stuff. And I think that's just, it's a really cool thing about what we get to do.
Yeah. How are these students finding out about this esports, program?
Some of it's different ways. Some of it's the seeing somebody wearing a shirt or a jersey. Well, not people don't really wear the jerseys casually around campus, but people wearing their hoodie
Right.
or a T-shirt or something, or seeing social media or just talking with students in class. There are some structured ways people find out about it and some kind of casual or informal ways. We don't currently really do any international recruiting, but if you look on the more domestic side, I mean, we
Right.
do recruit students from high schools and other universities. So that's I have a lot of calls. I have a lot of video calls. Even before COVID made us have a lot of video calls, I had a lot of
Yeah.
video calls just talking with students. And it's just like, hey, here's who we are. Here's what we're trying to do. If you see a place for yourself here, a thing we talk about a lot is we want people that want to be here. If you want to be here, let's talk about how you can get involved. So some of it's seeing people wearing stuff and some of it's talking. I'm sorry, what was that, David?
Yeah. So the high schools have some of the same programs, but not on the level you guys are. Is that, am I assuming right?
Yeah, Michael, why
They've
don't
got
you
these-
say what you said to me today, Michael, about the high school esports programs?
Sure. So now I figured out most high school, maybe all high schools now have an esports program, and that's been like mandated.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
the high school I used to go to, Nolan Catholic High School, I started a club there. It was a video game club that eventually turned into the esports club. And so I've been talking to him a lot about it. And the school that I student taught at, I Am Terrell, also had an esports club. So finding out that like all high schools now have that esports club and like feeding into the colleges and having students like potentially making scholarship for playing video games and doing the stuff they love is like amazing.
There's even I know
Interesting.
UIL is in the very early stages of looking into what would it look like for esports to be part of UIL in Texas high schools also. So it really is growing very rapidly. It's really cool to see. I wish this existed 20 years ago when I was in college. It would have helped with a lot of conversations with my parents, but I'm happy to see where it is right now, and just it's just really cool to see.
Eugene, can you tell us how many students you have in your program right now?
Yeah, if you were to look at the amount of students that we have in our program that have a specific role and not just like, I hang out with esports folks or go to events, people with specific roles, we're in the high 40s. I think it's 48. Because as Grant touched on earlier, we have 3 competitive teams, the FIFA team, the Valorant team, and the Smash Ultimate team. We have a stream team. We have 3 student organizations that are in our department. We have 10 students that work in our department. We have a lot of different, again, concrete specific roles that students can get involved with. And then there's also the more casual way where students that just kind of come and hang out or help us with events or are hoping one day to get a job in the office or something. But people that have a specific role, we're in, I think it's 47. I can't remember the exact number, but it's in the high 40s.
That's awesome. And thank you to Eugene and our student speakers, Michael, Stella, and Nick. Y'all did a wonderful job. This is a really interesting program. A few years ago, Eugene came and talked to our department about the new esports program then, and it was really intriguing. So we're excited that we got to share this with people, and we'll continue to share it through our YouTube channel. So we hope to see you at our other homecoming events this weekend. Thank you so much for joining us. If you have any questions, of course, you can call the alumni office, email the alumni office anytime. And we hope everybody has a wonderful night. Oh, and follow us on social media. Thank y'all so much.